All trees have sap, but if you take the sap of a maple tree and boil it to get all the water out, you will be left with a thick, sweet syrup. And the sugar maple has the sweetest kind of sap. When the weather is below freezing at night and above freezing during the day, the sap runs smoothly through the tree. And for hundreds of years, people have been tapping maple trees. That means they put a hole in the tree to get the sap out and collect it to make syrup.
We're tapping maple trees.
Woohoo! So our first step is to find a sugar maple tree. Now this is definitely a maple tree. You can tell by the shape of the leaf. And we are gonna look at a few things on this leaf to see if it's a sugar maple or another kind of maple. And really any maple tree will work to get sap for maple syrup. But a sugar maple is gonna be sweeter. So see how there's this U and it has like flat sides? That is a sugar maple tree.
If the leaf has a smooth U, it's a sugar maple. If the leaf has a ziggity shape, it's not a sugar maple.
Another way you can tell if your maple is a sugar maple is by looking at the branches. If there are twigs growing off the exact same spot on two different sides, you got yourself a sugar maple tree. So see how those twigs are coming off on both sides? The only kind of maple that has twigs coming off on both sides like that are sugar maples. Now that we found our tree, we have to start preparing the containers where we're going to collect the sap. We drilled some holes in the containers so we could attach it to the tree and so we could stick a tube connecting the spout where the sap will come out to our container. How high? I think it said like 3 to 5 feet. That looks good. Yeah, I think that's great. We planned on drilling our hole 3 to 5 feet from the ground on the sugar maple tree, and we read a tip that the sap flows faster on the side that gets direct sunlight. So we chose to make our first hole on the east side of this tree, the side that gets the sunlight in the morning. Before we drill, we cut the tubing and make sure everything lines up and fits just right. When we do start drilling, we're going to angle the drill up so that gravity can help bring the sap down through the hole we make. And we want to go in like 1 to 2 inches. If you go too far in, you'll miss the layer that the sap comes out of.
I miss it.
You making fun of your mama?
Yeah. Of course I do. Oh, this is juice.
All right.
Oh.
You want to clean that out a little, Matilda? See if we need to go further in?
Let me.
If there's no sap coming out, I swear I saw something juicy, but I could have been wrong. We had to drill a few times because our hole wasn't big enough for the spout. And if we did this again, we would definitely use a bigger drill bit. We also weren't sure if our bit was long enough, and the sap wasn't running like we expected. We decided to chip some of the bark off to see if it could help us get that drill a little deeper into the side of the tree. Finally, we tapped this maple tree, but the sap still wasn't flowing. It might be because of the temperature, but also we noticed that there was a knot, dead area where a branch had broken above where we put the tap. So we were a little nervous that maybe that flow of sugar that the tree needs wasn't flowing there anymore since it didn't need it there anymore. We decided to do one more tap on this tree. Check that out, is it wet?
Oh yeah!
It's wet! What does that mean?
Sap!
Sap! Woohoo! Sap. Yay! Oh my gosh. So this
You need to boil it.
Yeah. So this one, we do not see sap in this one yet, and we think maybe it's because of that knot. Like maybe. That's my idea. That's called a knot in the tree. It's like that little dead spot where a branch used to be. So maybe it redirected its sugar to other spots. What do you think, baby? Yeah. The sap actually isn't very sweet until it's boiled down. That's because sap is really 98% water and only 2% sugar. When you boil it, all that water evaporates out and you're left with just the sugar. And that's why maple syrup, real maple syrup, is so sweet. Look at it dripping out there. Beautiful. Our next tap started to run smoothly and we knew we had a good spot. We're still not sure why we're getting so much of the sap dripping outside of the tap instead of in through the tap and down the tube, but we will check back in the morning and see if it works.